There we go. Fantastic. We're off the mark. New season. Now, the real challenge is how do I get it out of this snag and how do I land it? It's, well, somewhere in front of me, inside this mess. How far down can I go without taking a swim? I think I've got him. Yes. Just a little one. It's just stuff. There we go, we're off the mark. No biggie, but it is the first chub of the new season for me. And boy am I glad to be off the mark. We'll get this one unhooked and slip it back. There we go. That's a better fish. So we're 10 minutes in and on to fish number 2 of the morning. That is a really good start to the season. We'll slip this one back and I'll let you know what tactic I'm catching them on. Let me cover this rig that I've been using in a little more detail. I say it's a rig I've been using for a few seasons and with Lee's lures for a year or so at least, but it's one that's proved really effective in my armoury when fishing super tight, super snaggy places, but also where fish are a lot more pressured. And I got thinking about it from fly fishing for chub and that delicate presentation working so well at times, and using the old PVC mayflies weightless. Caught me a few good fish in the past, but I've been waiting for a soft top water and it's come in an unexpected way, and that is the Savage Gear Goby tube. Now these are weighty little nuggets, salted and heavy, and they're shaped like a bullet, which makes them cast really far and accurately. While you're thinking that can't have any action because it doesn't have a paddle or appendages, it's actually got loads. Being the shape it is, with small taps of the rod tip, it will walk the dog, and that's a method that I find really effective with standard top waters. When you stand it still, those little tendrils spread out and give a little bit of a strike point for them to hit, and equally when you just hold it on in an area and just shiver the rod tip, it will vibrate and look like an insect or something that's fallen into the water. Now how I rig this depends on the situation that I'm fishing, and I will show you the 2 styles that I use now. I'm fishing snag, so I'm quite heavy, 10-pound fluorocarbon through to my hook. I'm doing that because I know the fish are going to get into weeds and I may well have to go in and get them out. The great thing about this method is it works very much like our line through baits. When the fish inhales it and shakes its head, that lure separates, which means there is one freely moving anchor point which the fish can't use to lever out the bait, and chub are fantastic at spitting lures. I like to make it even more flexible by tying a little loop onto that hook bend, and that really gives it a lot of freedom of movement. But how do I rig it? It's really simple. The great thing about these Goby tubes is they're very flexible with how you can rig them. You can rig them on a single hook, but the offset hook really helps in nailing the presentation. And what I tend to do is I take my Goby tube, and on the belly of that there's a diamond-like marking. I run a size 1 hook right through to the beginning of the diamond marking. I thread it up the shank and onto the hook length, and then I place a stopper on the shank, and I do that just below the curve of the offset hook. When I pull the lure tight to the stopper, it will sit there like that with the hook free between the little tentacles. There is minimal resistance for that hook point to expose, and so you hook a lot of chub doing it this way. However, if I'm fishing more snaggy areas, which quite often I am, I will rig it just as I would any other weedless bait. And with the size 1, it works a treat. The gap on the hook shank, I run through the nose of the bait, push it over that little hook stop there, and being a Duratec material, they will stretch over hook keepers and bits like that. Then I will pull it back down to the hook keeper and go through the body of the lure. That way my hook point is bedded in and it can be fished through some really heavy stuff, and that's exactly the sort of place that big chub like to live. There we go. Well, that was a solid morning's fishing. I managed 3 chub on camera and a few more off camera as well. They weren't any bigger, but great sport all in all. It's getting very busy now and these fish certainly know what pressure is. So I'm going to leave this area and move on to plan B, which I'll reveal just shortly. There we go. Straight away on my weird little concoction. Typical chub. First fish on the new stretch. Okay, so slight change of plans. I did want to take the kayak out and target them on the kayak, but instead I've moved to a new stretch. It's been super hot today, so I've decided to give them a rest through the day and come back in the evening time when it's a little bit cooler. And straight away, that was 3rd or 4th cast on the new section. Fantastic. Let's slip this one back. There we go. Whoa. Top water madness. There you go. And just had a take of this absolute beauty here. Look at that. That is a beefy summer chub. Absolute stunner, and it took that NED Goby on the weight-free rig. I better get this back because it looks like it's going to kick off. Right, there we go. Off he goes. Back home under a bush. There we go. Well, there we go, another cracking fish fall into the NED Goby. This one though, has he been through the wars? He's got a real bit of tail damage and a nasty wound on one side, so I should think possibly an encounter with an otter or maybe even a cormorant over winter. Either way, we shan't keep it out of the water long. Let's get it straight back, and it has absolutely necked that lure. Oh, he's going for that weed. This one wins award for fighter of the day. Right. Come on, man. Them snags. It's not a bad fish. Pretty similar to the stamp we've had for most of the day. But a beautiful, God, I love the orange fins, anything there. Well, there we go. The fish to end the session on. We're losing light quick, and I've had a fantastic day. We fished one tactic and one tactic only, and that is that little goby tube on the weedless hook. And considering it's weedless, we haven't lost many fish at all. The way it's rigged with that hook sitting further back really does nail them, and they stay on as well, even in the thick stuff. Beautiful fish, fantastically orange fins. I'm going to slip this one back and it's home time.